Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. This is your girl G from Surviving Our Broken Pieces. You know what time it is. It is Tuesday, 8 p.m. And you know how I do it, you guys. Listen, listen, listen. I got a guest that's coming live today, and I want y'all to show her some love. I want y'all to like, tag, and share this thing, y'all. Listen, let me make sure that I am not make this thing ain't private. Now, if it's private, y'all let me know so I can make it public. But again, first of all, let me say this. I don't own the right to this song. You know, they get me like that every time. But I got a guest speaker on today, you guys, and I want y'all to um show her some love. Uh Mrs. Monique Archer. Hey Mo,
Hey,
how are
Regina.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fine, fine, fine. Let me let you introduce yourself. You know how I do. I always give the platform to the guests, and then you do your thing. Let me invite some people.
Okay. Well, to introduce myself, my name is Monique Archer. I am first and foremost a Christian. I am a wife, a mother, and I am a business owner. I actually own two businesses. So I own Like Minded Consulting Group, LLC, and that's where I do business consulting for small businesses. I've been doing that for 14 years. And then recently I partnered with my very, very best friend. Her name is Ashley Haley, and we created Eyes to the Hills, which is a women's empowerment group, and we pretty much focus on women that have chronic illnesses, infertility, and dealing with loss.
Wow, wow, wow. So tell us a little bit about the group, Mo.
So, Eyes to the Hills, it really started because Ashley and I both suffer from endometriosis. And we
Uh,
actually both suffer from the same stage of endometriosis. And we just found when talking to other women and talking to other girls that a lot of people don't know about the disease. It is actually the number one cause of infertility in women. The
wow.
disease comes with a lot of other things with it as far as health issues. And we wanted to really empower and strengthen other women that are going through it, other women that have experienced loss, like we have, and other women that just have chronic illnesses as a whole and need a space to
Uh,
vent, need a space to uplift themselves, and need a space to be safe, to really be able to talk about these things and to really find encouragement. So we decided it was time to branch out and really help each other.
oh wow, wow. That's good. And in the midst of all of that, and going through all of that, and still having to be a mother, I mean a wife, and still having to be able to go out in the work field and still perform your duties. I mean,
It
how?
it is a lot. I'm not going to lie, but I would say, and the one thing I tell everybody is that my faith is on another level. There is literally, and I mean this truly, there is literally nothing that God has not promised me, that God has not shown me, that He has not brought to me, and that I don't have faith and hope that it will come to pass. Like there's literally nothing that He has not brought me from, that He does not keep me from. Like everything that God showed me, everything that God says to me, I trust it. I stand on His word, and I'm able to get up even in those low points. But don't get me wrong. Do not
Wow.
get wrong. The low points come. The low points definitely come. So I'm just excited to really release my testimony tonight, to really encourage others and to kind of tell everyone what I actually went through, and how I got to where I am now. Because a lot of times what I notice is people see me now, they see Mrs.
Uh-huh.
Archer, but they don't know me. they
Wow.
they tend to
That's
say,
good.
hey, I want to, oh, I love looking at you and your husband's marriage, but y'all don't know the struggles we went through. They want to say, oh, I want a husband like that. They don't know we spent 3 years being celibate while living in the same house
That's good. Wow.
after we had a child. So after we got a taste. You understand? So like for real, so people tend to say, I want this. They don't know the days I get up and I'm smiling and I'm at work and I'm talking to people and I'm encouraging others and I'm in crippling pain.
Wow.
So I'm just really excited about that.
Wow. Wow. So, um, my God, how did you? Because see, I got a lot of young viewers who's trying to practice celibacy, and like and a lot of them already have babies. You
Mhm.
know, so like you said,
Exactly.
they know what it tastes like. So,
Yeah.
um, what would you recommend?
I'm gonna recommend first and foremost finding yourself
That's good.
and finding out your worth in God. So not who you think you are in this world, not who people see you as, but who God sees you as. Because when I realized how my daddy loves me, like
Wow.
I wasn't going to accept anything less. And I actually remember telling my husband we had my daughter at this time, and I remember telling him enough is enough. I'm worth more than
Wow.
this. I mean more than this, and I know I deserve more than this. And it was an absolute struggle, but it is literally something where your flesh literally dies daily. You have to get up and you have to literally pray over yourself. You have to get up and you have to remind yourself again who I
Wow.
am, how much I'm worth, and that I deserve better and that God has better for you. And you have to really stand and believe that. Like I knew without a doubt that God had better for me. So I wasn't going to go back. I wasn't going to slip up when I knew, like, God, you have more for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was it was a struggle. I literally moved into my daughter's room. And I thank God, that I have the husband that I have, because when I released it to him, he did not discourage me, and we were both in the same place, and we knew it was going to be a hurdle because the reality was we just couldn't afford to live separately. That was just the
Wow.
reality. Like, it was just cheaper. We already had our daughter to be in one household, so being able to have two households, or to move out, or to even put her in a space where she could not see mommy and daddy every day together, we didn't want to do that. But we knew that God was calling us to do greater, and we had to answer his call. So yeah, we we went through some hurdles there, but to any young woman, it can be done. And even when you have slip ups and you have mistakes, that doesn't mean it ends there. It doesn't mean, oh, I slipped up, so now I'm gonna keep going. No, you have new mercies every single day. Like
Wow. That's
you're
good.
able to say, listen, God, this happened yesterday, and you already knew it was gonna happen yesterday. So get right back on and get right back
Wow.
to it. So because it'll definitely happen, it'll occur. But you can't beat yourself up and you can't stay there.
That's good. That's good. That's real good. Because that's what the problem is, the struggle, and then the shortcoming, and then you condemn yourself, and some people don't know the way of getting back up and starting all over again, even in the midst
Mhm.
of you know the flesh, because that's basically what it
It,
is.
it,
You
it
actually because you're training your flesh.
You are just like if you're on a diet. It is literally the same thing. Or you want to get on the workout plan, and you got to be consistent. You have to be committed to it. You have to literally tell yourself every day, this is my goal. You have to keep your mind on the end result. Just like with a workout, with a diet, hey, the end result is I want to be summertime fine. Well, you got to keep your mind on that. And my end result was, listen, I know God called me to be a wife. I wasn't called just to be a girlfriend. I wasn't called to be a baby mother. I actually despise that so bad, because I was raised in a single parent household. And although my father was active in my life, I knew that I saw my mother's struggles. And I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
not want to be there. And even with me having a daughter first, like my mother had me first, and I was like, whoa, I'm seeing the cycles repeat.
Repeat
And
itself.
that
Wow.
scared me. And I always tell my husband, and that's what the goal is. We're breaking generational curses, period. Things that even we even do it. My children will never, and we say this and we pray this over them daily, they will never experience the things that we have, and they're going to be greater, because that's what God called us to be, greater than the next. We should have elevated above our parents, and I expect my children to elevate to a space above me.
That's
So
good.
I'm like, look, that was my mother's struggle, and she did an amazing job, but that won't be mine.
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's some good teaching for the younger people that's
Yeah.
here and listening. Even to the fact, Mo, how was you able? Because I'm just thinking, when man said no, but God said yes. Even to the kids, when man said no.
So I'm gonna take this back and just really release this. I literally, as a child, for years, always had issues. I mean, chronic pain issues. I remember my grandmother, and I was about 12, and she would say, something is not right. She kept telling my mother, this child is curled up screaming, calling on Jesus at 12 years old because of the amount of pain I was in. So I spent years being misdiagnosed. I was told I had Crohn's disease, gastrointestinal issues. I had so many medications tried out on me. At a point, they thought I had lupus. Just spent years being ill. And even in spite of that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to live my life the best I can, but I can't lie and say that depression didn't sit in, that anxiety didn't sit in, especially being a 15, 16, 17-year old.
Yeah.
Those things, it's just like I can't do the things my friends are doing because I'm in pain. I make plans, and then the next thing I know, I'm sick. And I just spent years just, it's all in your head, something's wrong, until I was about 25. At 25, I happened to see a doctor who just said, something's not right. And he said, I'm just going to do surgery. I'm going to do exploratory surgery. And I prayed on it. And I'm like, this is a little scary. Just going to
Wow.
do exploratory surgery to see what's going on. And when he went in, that just literally, he said it was as if bombs had went off. He diagnosed me immediately with stage 4 endometriosis. And what endometriosis is pretty much when a woman has a cycle, instead of her body releasing everything, it goes back in our bodies for women that have it, and it causes tumors and what they call endometriomas, which are big blood clots. So we're actually bleeding internally. And these tumors and lesions will adhere to other organs. So at the time that they went in for mine, my appendix was stuck to an ovary. Multiple organs in my body were stuck together, which explained why I had spent years thinking it was Crohn's disease, gastrointestinal issues, and then they actually found a tumor in my small intestines. So it was so much damage that they actually did what they could at the moment and closed me up and said, listen, we're going to give you a month to heal, and then we're going to bring you back in, but we need an additional team. We need a gastro surgery team. So I was diagnosed right away. And, once I kind of got up in the hospital and really kind of started researching it, and like I said, my best friend actually had it. She was the one who kept saying, this sounds so much like what I have. And I remember waking up and just researching it, and the doctor came in to confirm it, and I lost it. Wow. I lost it because I knew that this would cause me to be infertile. This would cause me not to be able to have children. And he said with the extent of the damage, my tubes were closed, that he did not see me having children naturally. So I went back in for the second surgery, and that was a hassle in itself. I had a 12 doctor team. So I had 6 GYN doctors and 6 gastro doctors, because they had to remove part of my lower intestines, part of my colon and rectum, and they had to sew me back up. And actually we put back together my lower intestines because they had to take out a lot of it. Wow. So I actually spent a month in the hospital. I remember I was on a liquid diet, and I remember laughing because I said, Lord, I like this weight, but why did I have to go through it to get drinking my smoothies and broth? And then after that, they came to me and they told me that this disease has no cure. So there's no cure for endometriosis, and the fact that 1, it has no cure, and then for 2, there's pretty much no way to control it other than certain treatments. And one of those treatments was for me to go on chemotherapy. So at 25 years old, I began chemotherapy. I did a drug called Lupron that's used for breast cancer and prostate cancer patients. And they told me, you're getting a smaller dose than cancer patients. What it's going to do is trick the mind into thinking that you are in menopause. So your body won't produce the hormones making the tumors grow.
Wow.
What they didn't explain was I was going to get the side effects of everything. So I had my hair falling out. Immediately after my first chemo dose, they told me I would have hot flashes like I was in full blown menopause. Regina,
Wow.
I walked out of the hospital after my first treatment, and I mean, literally, it was like fire. Sweat was pouring off of me. I
Wow.
ran back in. I'm like, what is this? And found out that was a side effect. And I endured that for a year. Actually lost my job at that time because I wasn't fully covered under FMLA or the American with Disabilities Act. I lost
Wow.
my job. Like, I mean, my life went astray. I've always worked. I was used to having a job, used to having a place, and at that time I could do nothing for myself, and I really fell into a very depressed state. Um and I remember at that time I still kept going to church, but I wasn't hearing. Like I was literally looking at what was physically in front of me instead of seeing what God wanted me to see. I was just looking at what the surroundings were. I was looking at what
Wow.
was in my face. And I tell people
Mm.
all the time, you can never look at what you see in front of you. If God told you something, that's what you have to keep your eyes on, because if you look around you, you will lose yourself and you will lose what God has for you because you're focused on the wrong things. And
That's
I
good.
became focused on everything around me. I just got depressed. I remember when Lewis and I started dating, and I said to him, I said, would you date someone if they could never give you children? And he said, okay, if that's the case, we just gonna adopt. And I said, okay, God, okay, so we might can talk, like he said, well, we'll just adopt. And I remember feeling it's the worst feeling, being 25, like you're dating. How do you tell somebody that you're in the prime of your life? And I know for me especially, I felt like I've always been a nurturer. That's just me. I just
Mhm.
nurture people. I love on people. I have a heart for people. And how do you tell me that I cannot do what I know God created me to do? How do
Wow.
you put your head
Wow.
around that? That's just like, and that could be in anything. Like, if you know God created you to sing, how can you put your head around where's this record deal at, God? Why am I not seeing it? Um, God told you that you were going to be a millionaire. God, where's the money? I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Like, what's happening? And I remember getting in that state, like, God, you told me this. Like, I know that I'm meant to have children. I have such a heart for children. Like, how? Why me? And I remember that was the thing. Why me? Because I'm not gonna get up here and act like I was, oh Lord, yes, I had faith the whole time. No, I didn't. Let's be for real.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
it didn't go like that. It wasn't like that. I built faith through prayer. I built faith through relationship. And
Wow.
when
That's
my
good.
relationship with God grew and I spent time talking to him and hearing him. So, two things there. So not just talking to him, but taking that moment to hear from him and to know, like, my promise is true, it stands. And that's when I was able to kind of get up and get through it. And then I remember Lewis and I, we actually lost a child before Leia. So flash forward a couple of years, we actually found out that we were expecting, and then I went to the doctor and found out that it was ectopic. So I'm like, Lord, of all things, I already have
Wow.
this disease, and now here it is, this corruption and close the one tube I have function, and like everything went through my head. The why me hit again.
Yeah.
And in the
Wow.
midst of it, the pain is unbearable. Don't get me wrong. I'm still dealing with the pain of endometriosis itself, and dealing with having to take Percocet and ibuprofens on a regular. That was my regular cocktail. Was Percocet and ibuprofens. I drove to work. I worked. I functioned, and you wouldn't even know I was taking Percocet and ibuprofens. Ibuprofens every 6 hours. Percocet every 4, and muscle relax
Wow.
at night to control the pain. That was my
Wow.
regular cocktail. And I just remember saying, like God, like you brought me this far, and like I actually got pregnant. And then My grandmother, actually, I called my grandmother, and my grandmother prayed for me. And I began to realize, listen, okay, so I lost the child, but guess what happened? I got pregnant. I wasn't supposed to be able to do that.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, God, okay. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna turn it. I'm like, okay, God. So we made small steps. I'm like, all right. And then when I got pregnant with Leia, we actually didn't tell anyone until my 7th month of being pregnant. And I prayed over my child. And I don't even know if you all can see this. That's why this is on her wall. For this child, I prayed. 1 Samuel, verse 1. And I just like I prayed and I prayed and I prayed over her. And I
Wow.
prayed it through that pregnancy. And then when I had her, it was like, we're good. God, you got this. We're so good. Like, this is it. We're done. And then we came to that place again. And this was where, and actually at that time, thank God for people like you, people like Stephanie, people like Yasmin, people like Camila, women that I had around me that were truly praying for me. Because the second time, that anger came in, and it came in hard. Before, I had only dealt with being depressed, but when that anger hit, let's not sugarcoat it. I was angry with God. Before I was
Yeah.
depressed, I was in my flesh. I was angry with God because, see, and you were there witnessing some of it. I'm
Yeah.
getting all these prophetic words, and you're gonna have this son, and this is what's coming next. And I'm like, God, they heard you, I heard you, everybody knows, we all are in agreement. And then from the onset of that pregnancy, there was issues. There was, the baby doesn't look like they're going the right way. You should be further along than this, and this doesn't make sense. So I'm going back and forth to the doctor for weeks on end. And I will never forget the last day that I went, and they told me that the baby's heart had stopped beating. So I don't even know how I was able to fathom that. I just kept saying, like, what do you mean? And I put a mask on, and I didn't deal with that.
Wow.
I put a mask on. And I kept moving, and I kept going. And I remember after I had to go into surgery, because this was the kicker. I remember thinking, like, Lord, seriously? My body wasn't even doing what it was supposed to do at this point. At this point, the baby's no longer alive, and my body hasn't released it. So now I got to go into surgery. So now I felt betrayed double.
Wow.
Like, already my body isn't doing what it's supposed to do. Now you can't hold the child, and you can't eject the child. That's literally how I felt. Like, are you kidding me? Like, at that time, I can honestly say I felt worthless. I felt like, and even though I had a child, see, we tend to forget that. We tend
Yeah.
to forget that, like, when things are going on and that storm is happening, you tend to forget how God blessed you before.
Yes.
You tend to
Yes.
not remember, wait, he did it before. My daughter is the proof of it. But all I could see was that storm I was in. Like, I couldn't even function on that point that God did it before. I was just in a state where only my flesh was working at that time. Honestly, it was
Wow.
all flesh. And I said, my body isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And then again, I'm still mad. I'm mad. But I'm going to church. I'm shouting. I'm putting up posts. Oh, God, thank you, God. Even in spite of. But I was mad, Regina. I was
Huh. I
mad.
done been there.
I was mad. I'm like, when I come home, when the mask is off, when I'm not Mrs. Archer, when I'm not Monique at work, when I'm not being the boss, when it was just me, it was Mo. Oh, I was mad. I was mad back, like the old me had come out. Like the thing I thought that I had buried came out. I was mad. I didn't want to go up in that church. I go up in there, hallelujah, and raise my hands and do what I was taught to do,
Mm.
right?
That's good.
I go up in there and raise my hands. And I remember, literally. And I'm like this. My hands raised with my face like this. Literally hands raised, doing everything that was expected of me. But I was not dealing with what really occurred. I was not dealing with my true feelings and the fact that I was angry. that I was mad. I was mad at my husband. Seriously, did you not pray enough? Did you not? What did we do? We argued. That's why God did this. Or you missed the tithe, or I missed the tithe. What did we do?
Wow.
Did we not serve enough? God, didn't I do what you asked me to do? Don't I come every Sunday, all 3 services? Don't I get up here and sing for you? Don't I get up here and I minister to the young girls for you? Don't I get up here and talk and go to work and uplift my employees? Don't I go to work and tell them, you're going to be great, and pray over my branch every morning before I walked in the bank? Don't I do what you asked me to do? But it was everything. It was a whole facade that I was wearing, a whole mask, and I wasn't dealing with me, but I was so mad. And then here's the kicker. I'm dealing with all of this, and I go back for my follow-up, Regina, and I'm sick. So my follow-up was 6 weeks later. I'm sick. I'm having fevers. I'm shaking, and I'm sick in the physical, in the spiritual, in every aspect that I'm saying sick. I mean sick. I was angry. Wow. I was mad. My emotions, my mental state, and my physical body, everything was coming at one time. And I go back to the doctor and I say, something is not right. And they literally do an ultrasound and they tell me we didn't get everything. So how do you tell someone that just lost a child, we didn't get everything? We didn't get everything. And I'm going to be very raw right here. In my head, what does that mean? Did you not get an arm? Did you not get a leg? Like what do you mean? And I was going septic and had no clue. Wow. They didn't even know why I was still walking and talking. I should have been laid out in the hospital because for 6 weeks, I had fetal matter in me still. They had no clue. And that's when it hit me, because he kept me. In spite of my nastiness, in spite of my attitude, in spite of my mask, my facade, in spite of the fact that I forgot what he did before. I forgot about Leah. I forgot about the promise. It's a reason they say that they call children after a loss a rainbow baby. And we all know what the rainbow means in the Bible. We know it's God's promise.
Yeah.
That's why they call the children after a loss, because you may have lost one, but God promised you this. And he's going to keep his promises. I had forgot the promise that he kept. I had forgot how faithful he had been to me. And even in spite of all that, when I should have been dead, I was literally still being kept. When I was angry at my father.
Come on now.
When I was a disobedient child. When I tell you, Regina, I was coming in there, but I was not there. I would sing that song, but I was just singing it. I would sit there and pray. I didn't want to be there. I found every excuse. I did not want to be there, because I said, if somebody come and give me any other prophetic word or say anything about a child, I'm going off in here.
Wow.
Literally, I said all this stuff they said to me. And I'm like,
yeah.
I know God so well, like y'all said. And y'all sitting here prophesying and praying and laying hands over me. I was so mad.
Wow.
And I had forgot his promise. I had forgot that he kept me. And that's what we all tend to do when you get in a storm. I remember my husband said to me, he said, with tornadoes and storms, he said the only way you can track it is to be in the eye of it.
That's it.
And so here I was in the storm, and I was losing myself. I didn't keep my eye on where I was going, where this storm was taking me. This storm was for a reason.
That's it.
And I lost and what I had to do to get myself back together, I had to pray, and I had to really be honest. See, this whole time I had this facade on. I was saying all the right things. I was doing everything people asked of me. I did everything. I didn't outwardly display the attitudes. I didn't get smart. I didn't say I don't want to do it. I did it. I came. I sat there on the front row, threw my prayer cloth over my lap, got up and sung, did everything that was asked. But I was so angry. And it wasn't in the church either. It wasn't with a crowd. It was me in my closet on my floor where I really released it until I really said, God, I'm angry. Because honestly, I didn't want to say I was angry because, you're not supposed to be angry with God.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be real with God. So
Yep.
I never wanted to say, the reality is I'm mad. Like, Daddy, you said this. You said this was what was going to happen. This is what we were waiting for. This is what I prayed for. And you let me down. That's what I thought. You let me down. And it wasn't until I got on that floor and I cried and I prayed and I realized every storm that he has brought me to, he has brought me through. And on the other end of that storm, when I went through that storm and I went through that storm with grace, when I went through that storm and I went through that storm praising.
That's it.
When I got to the other side, he had better for me. And even in that, I was like, you know what, God, I'm just going to give it to you. And when I really gave it to him and just said, God, and I had to repent because I had forgot he'd already kept his promise.
Yes, he did. Wow.
He had already kept his promise to me. He had already showed me. And I say all the time, I say my daughter was the manifestation. My daughter was the child that showed me he was God. My daughter was the child where he said, you know who I am. I am your father and I'm in control of all things. And my son was the promise. My son was, I said what I said. And I meant what I said. Literally. Wow. I was telling my husband, I said, my daughter was a manifestation. She came at that moment when I needed to physically see God. When I look at my daughter, I see God. When I remember being in those hospital beds. I remember every chemo treatment every month. I remember my hair falling out. I remember every side effect. I remember the pain. My daughter was the manifestation. My daughter was the woman. He told me I am God.
My goodness. Woo.
And my son. So let's get there. So we just decided, like, God, I'm in a good place. I'm gonna let your will be done. Honestly, when I got to the place where I said your will, so not my wishes and not the way I want it. And I think that's what people tend to forget. Like, we think, okay, well, God said I'm gonna have this house. He didn't say how you was gonna get the house. Okay. He did, and I'm gonna take that to today. Okay. He didn't say how things was gonna come.
That's right.
He didn't tell you what you were gonna go through to get there. So when we say that, when we say, Lord, your will be done, but we don't really know what we're saying.
That part right there.
Seriously, you don't know what you're saying. His will be done. It will be. And it may not come the way you think. He's not going to come the way you think. And in actuality, he oftentimes doesn't come the way we think or want him to.
No,
like,
he doesn't.
At all. And when I really said, I'm going to take my hands off of this. I'm praying hard for this little boy. But my hands are in it. And it's not my will. If it is for me, God will bring it to me. And once I got to that space, and keep in mind now, my good husband, the good minister, he's I love him to death for that. He's very calm and he allows me to go through things. And he allows me to go through what I need to go through to get to where God needs me to be. Not the way he might receive it, not the way he might go through it, or not where his faith level is. He allows me to be at the level that God has me at.
That's good.
So he prays over me and he encourages me, but he allows me to go through that. So he was sitting back like, God gonna do what he gonna do. And I'm just like, But when I got to that place where I lifted my hands and I released and I repented and I said, God, your will. But right now, I have to remember what you did before and I have to be thankful in everything that you've already done. That's it. And then here comes LJ in the midst of a pandemic. I'm like, Lord, you funny, Lord. Lord. I literally found out I was expecting February 2020. And of course, as you know, March was when it was like everything is shut down. And I am an essential personnel. I manage a bank. So I have to go to work. I was one of the first people to get a pass that said, I'm able to freely travel on the roads. So here I am, high risk pregnancy. And I'm like, oh, Lord, you're funny. It's a global pandemic. I have to go to work and I'm working around money. So I got money coming in my bank from China. I remember telling my team, listen, y'all, we're gonna pray over this money. You're gonna stick it in that vault, you're gonna Lysol it down. We'll worry about it in a few days. I prayed. I prayed every morning going in there. I prayed over my branch. I prayed over the employees. I just prayed because that was one of the most trying times of my life. And it should have been one of the happiest. But I was literally, my pregnancy was a storm. But this time I praised through it because I prayed over my house and I said, this virus will not come past this door. I prayed over my vehicle. I prayed over my job. I prayed over every bit of money that came through the branch because we were still operating through our drive-through. And I prayed over the tubes that were coming in there because I said, God, you brought me to this. Ain't no virus. Ain't nothing on this earth. We'll take this out. No. So I just, I prayed over it and I went through it, but it was the hardest time. I wasn't able to have family or friends around. I was not able to see my family and they all live far away. My husband was not allowed to come to any appointments with me. And by the grace of God, he was actually able to come to my the delivery because at one point they were not allowing anyone in the delivery room.
Wow.
So the pregnancy was extremely hard. I dealt with preeclampsia, so there were issues with my blood pressure, with swelling, and then the best part, my entire pregnancy, no one realized how big my baby was. So a week before birth, they tell me, we think he's 10 pounds. And I said, okay, Lord, you got jokes. Literally. And this is how I talk to God. I said, God, you got jokes. Okay, well, I got some too. We gonna sign up for this good C-section. Cause didn't nobody say nothing about this. And then God had another one for me. Told me I could do it. And I literally had my 9 pound, 6 ounce son naturally. And
Wow.
he came in 15 minutes. I pushed 3 times and he was here. He was healthy. And he has been nothing but a blessing. But I would have never gotten there if I had have kept my eyes off of God and I had not. The moment for me was the repenting. The moment for me was taking that mask off because we all walk around with these nice masks.
Yes, we
and
do.
we walk around with the facade and we never fully say, hey, I'm hurting. I'm hurting. And that's the reality of it. Like, you got to open your mouth and say, I'm hurting. And I'm
Yep.
not asking you to tell anybody or in everybody, but you got to be able to go to God and say, I'm hurting. Like, Abba, I'm hurting. Like, this
That's
is
it.
what's happening to me. I'm angry. I'm upset. You got to talk to him. See, we can pick up the phone. We can talk to everybody. We can call this person and that person. But we never take the moment to talk to him and then to hear from him.
Mo, it's because we're taught that we
Mm.
can't question God, that
Yeah.
we can't come to God that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it calls us to stay imprisoned in the mind, not realizing that you can go to God in prayer with
Yes.
your truth
Mm-hmm.
and say, God, listen, I am mad. I am angry. God, I do need your help. God, I just can't be nobody else but me. I'm just tired of being somebody else.
And that's the thing, we have this, and I'm gonna be honest, I was right there. Like, I literally, and especially in the position that I am, and by that I mean who my husband is. A lot of times I have always, I got to a place where I felt like, people were expecting this and that from me because he was Minister Archer. They were expecting me to come like him, to talk like him. We're two different people.
That's right.
We don't talk
Yes.
the same. We don't think the same, but we both love God. That's for sure. And we're not going to come the same way. And a lot of times you just have this facade. I just got into this routine because that's what I was taught. I was scared. Like I said, you don't question God. It's what I was taught.
Yeah.
and once I realized that, God, you're the closest thing to me. You're more than a friend. You're everything. And I can talk to you and I can be real with you because you know me. You're real with me. So I
That's
need
it.
to be real with you. And people think I gotta pray a certain way. I have to talk to God a certain way, or I can't go to God like this and like that. My hair can't be like this. I can't dress like this. I can't talk like this. But if that was the case, then how is God all knowing?
That's it. That's
How?
it.
How is he all knowing? How is this God the Alpha and Omega and didn't know who you were and who you were going to be? He put no limitations on how you could come to him. So for me to even to have gotten in that religious state, because that's what it was, you know, I had to
Yes.
forgive myself for that too.
Yep.
And that's when my prayer and my relationship with God grew, when I realized you love me for me more than anybody. Even the thing my husband think he loved me. God loves me for me.
That's
He loves
it.
every flaw, every imperfection, even the thoughts that I think, the moments I'm mad, when I want to cuss and go off, and when I want to, God, I'm gonna cuss him out now. I pray later. He know all that.
That's right.
He know
That's
all
it.
that, and that's what he wants. He wants to deal with you in that place. He wants to have relationship with you in that place. And when you get into a religious state, and that's just what it is, where you think you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to shout at this moment and you have to, oh, you better get up, and when this music hit and that chord hit right, you better start praising, your feet better get to moving, but you
Yeah.
never really have a relationship.
Mm, you don't. It's no connection.
Mm-mm.
It's no connection. There's no way he can connect to something that's fake. It takes so much time trying to be somebody else or
Oh,
trying to please other people. That is such a mental place to be in, and that's what people has to understand.
it is.
I mean, I can only be me, and I can be the best me that I can be.
You know what? I love it when people say, I truly love, I get so happy when I see people doing stuff, like when I saw your daughter. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. I swear, I'm so proud. But I always laugh when people say the glow up. And the real glow up is being you and really learning and loving you.
That's it.
That's the real glow up. Like, really think about that. When people glow up, it's when you find yourself and you're happy with who you are.
Yes.
And you take off that facade. And that's when God can really grow you, can really mature you, can really talk to you. That's when my prayer life grew, when I realized, listen, I'm who I am. My husband is who he is. We are forced to be reckoned with together, but I am me.
That's
And
it.
and that's when my prayer life grew. That's when I could have relationship. That's when I could get in the car and Lord, we're gonna pray every morning. We have conversation every morning. I love driving to work. That's when we're gonna talk. Like, that's
And
our way.
Mo, I hear a lot of people, asking, well, how do you pray? I don't know how to pray because it's a people has put an image on prayer,
Yes.
and they making you think that you can't go to God who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and that's original. And my answer to them always is to speak to God according to your level, where you at, your relationship. I can't because what I'm going through may not be where you're going through. We may not be on it the same space. You may be up here and I may be right here, and my
Yeah.
prayer life may be, at this point, and you right here. And I can't expect you to be where I'm at because see, we don't understand. We're killing people trying to put them somewhere that they don't belong.
And that's where I was. I could not pray for a long time. Where we were. I couldn't, because I felt like I can't pray. I'm not doing it right. I'm not saying the right words. I'm not doing what is asked of me here. And I just felt inadequate. How can you feel inadequate talking to your father?
Listen,
How?
listen.
And I felt inadequate. I felt like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm not going to say this. I don't know this scripture and I'm going to get in trouble. I don't want to pray. And I stopped. Even in my private time, I stopped. And it wasn't until I really got down and had a breaking point because, let me tell you something. God literally will sometimes bring you to a breaking point just to get back in relationship with you.
Ooh, come through.
Like,
I
I
Yes.
think about all the things that I have went through.
Mm.
And some of those things, he brought me through it just to get back in relationship with me. He missed me.
Wow,
Just
that's
to,
good. Now that's
like,
good. Now
just to
that's
get
good.
back in relationship with me. Because honestly, it isn't until you down and you going through some stuff. See, when your money good, your job good, you looking good, everything is right. You got you a new man, you living life, you traveling, you like, I'm good. Hallelujah, but I'm good. But it isn't until that money drive, that man leave, that job lays you off,
Girl, come
that
on
your
now.
children going off, that your marriage isn't a ruckus. So when you get down and then you calling on Jesus real hard. You not just hallelujah, you calling on him.
Yes, you are. Yeah, I mean begging, calling.
Not everything. Like, Lord, please, what did I do? What did you do? You forgot about me.
That's good.
That's what you did. You forgot about me. And see, so when I was going through all of that, and in the midst of losing that child, I forgot about him because he already done did this before. Why won't he do it again? Like, it's not till he brings you to that point where you don't have no choice. And honestly, that's almost a bad place to be because you don't know where he's going to take you to.
Next.
Literally.
Yeah.
So you can't forget about him. He should be in everything, in every walk, in every step. And I don't care if you don't know how to pray. I don't care if you don't go to church. I don't care at all. You start off with a conversation just like we have.
That's it.
You start off just speaking what's in your heart because yes, he knows what's in your heart, but he needs to hear you say, Daddy, I need you.
Yeah. That's it.
He needs to hear you say that. And you just have that conversation. And you don't worry about what no one else is saying, what no one else is thinking, how to pray, what church you go to, or what you got on. You just talk to him.
That's it.
That's it. And he'll grow you from there, and even putting the right people in your life. Because see, y'all don't even have a clue. And that's why I say thank you, God, because you have to watch and discern who is around you as well.
That's it.
Because people that you are in true covenant with, that God bought for you, they already was interceding. They already knew. You ain't had to open your mouth. They was already standing in the gap on your behalf. And that's why it's important to have the right people around you. Just like even in a marriage, and Lewis and I always talk about that. It's important that we don't disclose things, that we don't talk too often to friends who are not married. And it's not because I don't have a love for you, it's because you may not understand. Because see, my single friend may tell me, girl, you better get up and leave. But that married woman of God will say, no, come on, we're gonna pray more. You better get yourself together.
You know what? That's something that even Stephanie and I and I would say, listen, you got it. You got to go talk. Talk to a couple that's married because see, I'm in the divorce line. I'm in the single line.
You gonna be like,
my point of view. My point of view is not because I'm not in the line where I'm fight for it. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that fight for it line. I'm in the line of I'm trying to be free. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, my point of view may not be the right point of view for you because I'm not married. Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that because I truly believe that it's too many married couples or ladies, because we on the ladies right now, and y'all know how to do it. I'm gonna say it how it's supposed to be said, and you talking too much. Mm-hmm. About your relationship with your husband and not even talking to your husband.
Mm-hmm. But and not praying with your husband.
Exactly. But you're willing to talk to a single friend who don't have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you are married with a husband and a family, even
Yeah.
whether you got kids or not, you still consider a family.
Family, yeah.
And you're willing to lose the unit because you want to listen to somebody who ain't got nobody really.
Who doesn't have it? And I'm gonna be honest, because some of them are even coming from a bad space intentionally. You just
No,
my girl. I want to have you my girl. You
that's
get up
it.
and leave.
Yeah,
But see, those real women of God that understand what the real true foundation of the kingdom is,
that's it.
they're gonna uplift you. They're gonna begin praying with you. They're gonna say, okay, like Stephanie do me. Okay, now vent. Good. Let's pray and get yourself together.
That's
For
it.
real.
That's
You
it.
gotta
That's
have those people in your life who are truly God sent. And you have to have discernment in that area. You have to, even right now, even before me praying, God, send the right people in my life.
that's it. That's
Because I need people that are going to pray when I'm weak. I need
yep.
people, I don't have to tell you even what's going on. It's been plenty of times I haven't even said to you all what is occurring, but I said, pray.
Yep.
Pray for
Yep.
me.
That's it.
You don't
That's
need
it.
somebody that's going, well, I need the whole story either.
See that
Something
right
right.
there?
Something right. Something right. Because if you love me and you hear and you truly hear from me, you're just going to pray because you want my soul to be in a good space.
That's it. That's it.
And like as young women, you have to watch everything that is going on around, even with things honestly that is going on with women. You know, you're going out, you're drinking with your friends, and you hear on the news how one girl gets killed or missing, but she went
Yes.
out with a group of friends. Where they do that at?
I don't
I
understand the
thought
new
we all
wave.
came together and we all leave together.
See, that's the wave I've been in. I don't. I'm not from the wave wherein you just dip off and I don't see you. That's a different wave. I don't understand that.
But there were signs. There were
Wow.
signs. There were signs
That's
that these weren't true friends. There were signs when your stomach was bubbling and the Holy Spirit was rising up in you. There were signs, and you ignored them.
yeah. You're right. You're
There
right.
are moments. Think about it. That you're gonna call somebody and your phone will die. There are moments where you're gonna do something and stuff happens. Don't take that lightly. I always think I think about it even sometimes now, and I'd be picking up to call somebody and somebody else to call, and I forget, and I say, "Oh well, Lord, that was you," because I wasn't supposed to release that. Well, I wasn't supposed to say that. like,
That's it. That's true
like you
though.
have
That's
to
it.
watch your circle. You have to watch who is around you because you have to have. And I just thank God that I had you, and I had Minister Gina, and I had prayer warriors that didn't have to talk to me to be laid out on their face praying for me, praying for my husband, praying me through that pregnancy. Because I'm gonna tell you the truth, that the one I lost, there was some praying happening too, and I mean prey.
Yep.
But I just thank God. I thank God that I wasn't left in that space.
Yes.
I
Yes.
thank God that I had people encouraging me that could really see, hey, this is just a mask, but it's okay. I'm praying for you.
Yep.
So I mean, I just really think you gotta have the right people in your life, whether you married, whether you single, whether even you're dating. You gotta have the right
Yeah.
people in your life.
That's good. That's really good, Mo. I tell you, truly a blessing. Even from your testimony to words of encouragement. Um, I tell you. So when are you planning on doing this
So
getting your
I'll So
yeah.
the podcast and everything is going to be dropping officially as of June. So we're going to start that as of June and lunch and everything. So I definitely will let you all know. But I'm
Thank you.
excited. I'm excited to just
Yes.
have a safe space. I'm excited for us to encourage each other because it isn't a one-way street. To
That's
encourage
it.
each other and to really help each other on this journey of faith, this walk, and just to help remind each other that when we're in that storm, need people that remind you in the storm. I know it's looking bad, but just start praising.
That's it.
Listen,
That's
I'm
it.
praying for you. Pray and praise. Pray and praise. Like you're in this storm, just, you need that. Everyone needs that safe space and that reminder, because we all go through it. We are all human. We are all flesh.
Yes, indeed. I got some people saying they're looking forward to hearing your podcast, and
Definitely
that's
can't wait.
yeah, that's good because see, like I said, it's one thing to like we were talking about before the podcast, um, to see somebody else on television
Yeah.
coming through, going through, or making it through. It's totally different when you know somebody that done been through something, that made their way out, and willing to share that with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
See,
Because
it's something different about a personal thing.
it is, because you can see it on TV, and I'm like, you probably had money to do this. You
Yeah,
know, you had resources. You
that's
had
it.
resources to get that help, and there were no resources for me. There was no magicians. There was none of that. It was literally
Yeah,
me and God, and that's what I hold to, and that's why I won't stray. I know that everything that He has promised is coming forth, and I hold to that.
that's good. That's good. Minister Gina said, write the book.
Ah, there you go, Minister Gina. There you go.
Minister Gina, don't wait for the youth team.
Yeah, I hear that, and I'm in the process of writing a book, and I'm also in the process of falling back in love with the songs, because God gives me a lot of it through song. A lot of times when I can't pray, I can sing it. When I'm broken, I sing my way through, and
Wow.
so God is working. He
Oh
definitely,
my goodness. I can't wait.
yeah, he is. He's working.
That's good. That that is so good. Oh my God, Mo. Um, I tell you, your story alone give women hope. Your story alone give hope. Because there's so many, I know so many young ladies that's going through mental, illness, just illness itself, fighting against their own body.
Mhm.
And a young lady from Waverly, she put up put up one of her testimony on how she was going through and nobody knew, and
Yeah.
she put her results in, and I mean it's just like, oh my God. And this is she's young, she's a young lady, and
And
it,
we don't tell anyone. We walk around,
yeah,
and no one would have known, honestly, the amount of pain that I was in. And I have to say this too. Endometriosis has no cure, but I have not experienced any pain or any issues with this
look at
illness
God.
since I had Leah.
Wow,
Since I had Leah.
look
I
at
have not
God.
had to take another treatment of chemo. I have not been hospitalized. I have not even had to take anything stronger than a Motrin. So
Look at God.
yeah,
And
I believe in what God can do if we
you put your
allow Him to.
you put your faith to work.
Mhm.
You put your faith to work. You allow your faith to work things,
Mhm.
and not you. That within itself, it speaks a lot of value. Putting your faith to work.
Yep.
So, before we close it out, is it anything that you want to say to encourage the young ladies on here, or not even just the young ladies, the young men who, because see, we got to understand that even in the midst of all of this or what we're going through, the men are, especially when you got to have a husband or a boyfriend or a baby dad or however you want to categorize this thing, and they're in it with you.
Exactly. They definitely are in it with you. Um, I always say, my husband actually has it tattooed on his arm, actually, and that's the funny thing. And that's Hebrews 11:1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You got to remember what you're hoping for. You got to remember what you're praying for. And then just remember that put your faith to work. Put your
Put it to
faith to
work.
Put it to work. Keep you know what you're hoping for. Only you and God know what you're praying for, your heart's desires. Put your faith to work. Let him take the lead.
Wow, that's good. That's really good. I enjoyed you so
Thank
tremendously
you. Thank you.
having you on the live. Oh my God, I enjoyed you tremendously. We got a lot of viewers who's dropping a lot of comments. They're coming so fast I can't even how to read them.
I'll try to get back in afterwards and
Yeah, and
because I haven't
yeah,
even been able to
please.
catch them either. But I just thank you for having me even on this and on your platform and where it's going and everyone that it is encouraging. And even with the surviving off broken pieces, and I kept thinking, we're surviving off of broken pieces, but we're no longer broken.
That's
Through
it.
this,
That's
we're being made whole.
yeah.
And you know, like, this platform is allowing people to heal and allowing them to go to God and really get delivered. And it's just, I appreciate you even thinking of me. I was like, God, I said to God then, so you are being funny. I just said, I don't know when I want to do this podcast. I'm waiting. And God said, no, you're not. So when you called, I had to say, okay, God, yes.
And I thank you so much because see, we all fear try to grip us when God put an assignment on us
Yes.
to us, to our hands. God put it to our hands, and fear tries to grip us and cause us not to do the work of God. But see, we got to understand it is not just for God, but it's for God's people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always reminded, even to tell you the days that, and don't get it twisted. Some days I'd be like, okay, God, I don't really want to get on surviving off broken pieces. It's been a rough day. But then God, and the scripture reminds me when Jesus went to Peter and he said, feed my sheeps. And I said, okay, God, you're right. You know, I have to get on it. I have to feed the sheeps. And it's not all just through me, but it's through the people that you download in my spirit to say, hey, I need you, do you mind coming on live? Because it has to be something that God needs you to tell the people.
Exactly.
And that's what we got to understand. These podcasts, today, let me say this. Today, God said, this is the mini television show. These are
Mm,
the television shows because, see, people are looking for something. They're looking for some hope. They're looking for some truth. They're trying to figure out what do I do next? God, I need a voice. I need to hear.
mhm.
And then he make it possible through flesh. He'll send somebody to speak a word of encouragement or give somebody some hope or because some people are at the brink of a breakdown. Some people are,
Yes.
they got to hear this today, and today got to be the day that they hear it. So even when I don't want to, I have to, because I can always remind me that somebody need this today.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody need this today. and,
Yep.
and and what I've done is I've allowed people to I've allowed my chosen to get a platform, and I've allowed them to speak the truth.
Right.
And this is how we're going to bring the people back together to Christ. All our job is to just witness.
Mm-hmm.
God does everything else.
Yes.
He does everything else. Our job is just to witness. um I'm coming March, no, May the 29th, excuse me, y'all. May the 29th, at 5 p.m. I got this first spring slash summer, I call it I call it a shake it off event. And God just told me, say it's a shake it off event because we
Yes.
done been through so much in 2020,
Yes.
so much in 2019, so much in 2018. See, the storm just ain't hit in 2020.
Mm-mm.
Some people's storm hit in 2019, 2017.
Come on.
So he said, we got to get to a shake it off season because
Yes.
you can't keep walking around these graveyard clothes. You got to shake these clothes off.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So he said, do this shake it off event. So I want y'all to look forward to the flyer coming out. It's going to be coming out pretty soon, for the 29th of next month. It's a shake it off event, by our very own Minister Archer, which is Mo husband. He will be the speaker of the evening. Oh my God, because I kept saying, God, I want to have Minister Archer on the platform. God said, no, 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 no. I want him out. I need you.
Yes.
I want him out, because this is going to be an outdoor event, y'all. This is going to be an outdoor event. We're not just called for the in-house. See, it's outdoor. You can't just keep preaching and teaching to the same people. We got to go out, and we got to witness out to God's people. It's
because not everybody's coming in. Everybody ain't coming in. You got to go to them.
This is why Mo, this what the platform is for.
Yeah.
It's people that's on my live that I have never even laid eyes on. I don't know anything about. God. But I know they surviving. And some of them have already survived.
Yes.
So that means it's people out there. The platform is for people out there. And this is what these events going to be, because God has told me I have to do 3 events.
My God.
And this is what they're going to be. They're going to be out there.
I can't wait.
I want to go out there with people saying the drunks ain't got no hope. Because the woman's strung out on drugs, and because you don't know her issue. You don't know the strong man that's binding her to them drugs. Exactly. But you don't want to go out there and preach and teach them to her, but you want to talk about it. So God said, I need you to go out to them people.
Yes.
Those where you need to be at.
Yep.
So that's my ministry is outside. And I know this. And I'm okay with it.
Excited. I can't wait.
And I'm okay with it. So y'all look out for the flyers. Look out for the flyers. Mo, I think again, I say I thank you so very, 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 very much to get on this platform, to even release your half of your testimony. We look forward to your podcast. Listen, you got to keep us informed, because I put other people. I mean, this is building the kingdom.
Yes, exactly.
Because who you need to reach, I can't reach. I'm not assigned. So what I'm gonna do is, once you do your podcast, I'm gonna share it on Surviving Our Broken Pieces.
I can't wait.
And my thing is, I want them to share it to someone, because see, if they share it, somebody they know need it.
Exactly.
And then they're gonna share it, and somebody they know gonna need it. And this is what called kingdom building.
I was just about to say,
this is kingdom building. This is why I'm doing this outdoor event. God said, how everybody's so divided here. Unite this thing.
Exactly.
You unite it.
Unity. Yeah.
So I thank you. I think I may have lost Mo. I think I may have lost her, but I thank her so very much. I do. Like I said, her Minister Archer would be my guest speaker on the 29th of next month. I look forward to him. You guys, I thank you for being part of Surviving Our Broken Pieces. I love each and every one of you. You come in, you dedicated. You come in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and you spend an hour with me, sometimes even more than an hour. And I thank you so very much. I'm so godly grateful. I got your back, Mo.
Yeah, I'm playing games here, but I'm back.
I am so godly grateful for all the viewers. Mo, I'm gonna let you end this live, and I don't normally do this, so good. God said, just let her in it, and then we're gonna I'll see y'all next Tuesday. Just a word of encouragement.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I thank you, Regina, for this platform and this space and doing what God called Evangelist Regina to do. I thank God for you, and I just want to leave everybody with words of encouragement, and that is literally to keep your eyes to the hills from what's coming for your help, and just be encouraged. Know that you're not alone. Know that you are not the only one going through this, and know it could be worse. So thank God in spite of, and you all have a great night.
All right. Thank y'all so very much. And I'll see y'all again next Tuesday. I'm trying to, y'all, you good old you good old girl. We just trying to work this thing out. Oh, it don't want to work out for me. So nevertheless, I'm gonna close it out like this. Yeah, you guys, I'll see y'all next Tuesday on Surviving Our Broken Pieces. Y'all have a blessed night. You know how in this thing you pray for me, I'm gonna pray for you. We're gonna watch God do some miraculous things in each and every one of our lives. I love you guys. Good night.
Good night.